Why do you want to leave your current job? Our family moved to live near a better school district for our children. This area is great, and I want to find a job closer to my new home. My previous job was too far away to commute. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. We provide many different brochures for our clients, and when we get low on a specific brochure, we have to order each separately. I created a small tool that automates this process and saved about 30 minutes of work each time we ordered brochures. It was something small, but my manager appreciated it. What do you feel an employer owes an employee? I believe an employer should respect their employees and treat them fairly. I plan on working hard, and I should be recognized for my contributions. What do you expect from your manager? I expect my manager to be a smart person who works hard. If my manager is setting a positive example, I believe I'll be more encouraged to work harder. Having a manager that bosses people around without doing any work is very discouraging, so I expect my manager to lead by example. What did you hear about us? I heard ABC Company has a great work environment and a place where strong contributors are rewarded. I want to work for a company with opportunities, and I know ABC Company provides these things. What do you know about our product? I heard this company is creating a camera lens for deep sea photography. Because my major was in engineering and my hobby is in photography, I believe this is a perfect position for me. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? I get along with almost everyone, but I tend to get frustrated at people who always say yes and end up not delivering. I expect honesty and integrity, and saying yes should mean yes. How long have you been looking for a job? To be honest, I've been looking for a job for quite a long time. The job market hasn't been that great, and it's been a little rough. But I spent my year productively by reading up on new technologies, self-studying, and trying to challenge myself with small projects. I definitely learned a lot, and I'm really ready to start working again. Why haven't you received any offers so far? I received one offer from a smaller company, but I wanted to see what else is out there. I like what this company has to offer, so I'm hoping everything turns out well today. If everyone on the team is a veteran, what will you do to fit in and be a beneficial team member instead of a person who appears to be in training? In this situation, I'll have to ramp up quickly and study notes from previous meetings before attending any. I'll also do a lot of studying to catch up so I can participate in discussions instead of appearing to be in training. How do you intend to learn what you need to know to perform well for this job? If the company provides training, I'll utilize the training to learn. If not, then I'll learn by being attentive to what other people do, read up on all the documentation, and be willing to ask questions when necessary. I know the first couple of weeks are important, and I'm willing to put in extra effort to start off on the right track. If your supervisor tells you to do something that you believe can be done in a different way, what would you do? I'll suggest a different way of doing the assignment along with the benefits. If my supervisor disagrees and insists I do it a certain way, I'll follow the instructions. If you were unfairly criticized, what would you do? When I'm unfairly criticized, I usually think about the criticism and try and view it from a different angle. If I still can't see why I was criticized, then I will approach the person and initiate a dialogue to resolve the unfair criticism. What are you looking to gain from your next job? For the last several years, I've done a wide variety of things. I've set my goals and continually moved forward. I've worked in a time-constrained environment, juggled many tasks at one time, and even managed several people. However, one of my goals is to improve my creative side of design. Working for a large company demands a lot of work from each designer, so although creating graphics came naturally for me, I never had the luxury of creating work without being pulled in 4 different directions, so I wanted to find a position where I could use more of my creativity. What aspects of this job interest you the most? Ever since I was studying mechanical engineering in college, I had a strong interest in automobile engines. This position is to help the engine design team to create better fuel-efficient cars. When I read that, it really jumped out to me. I knew I really wanted this position because it combined my interest and my experience into one. So being on a team where I can work on something I love is what appeals to me most. If you're given work from your manager that is boring and tedious, what will you do? I don't mind doing boring and tedious work. As long as I don't have to do it for a long duration, such as 6 months, then I really wouldn't have a problem. How long do you plan on staying with this company? To tell you the truth, I've been working and gaining experience to get into this company. This is where I want to be, and I plan on staying a long time if I'm offered the job. What do you do when there are too many things to do? I really like it when there's so much work. I'm a fast and efficient worker, and I like taking challenges that are big. With proper planning and execution, I've always managed to complete all my tasks. How do you manage having so many things to do, such as work, family, and school? With my kids in school, it's really easy to manage my time. I have the full day to myself, and I want to be productive by helping a company grow. You've been with one company your entire career. Don't you think you'll have a tough time adjusting to a new environment? Although I've been with one company, I've experienced many changes and new roles in my career. For example, during the middle of a long project, the vice president sent out a group-wide mail completely changing our direction. We had to basically start from scratch with half the time left. It felt like I was a new employee again, having to ramp up on new technology, reading up on instructional documentation, and learn new applications. So through my experience dealing with change and adjusting to new projects, I am confident I will not have a tough time adjusting to this new environment. What have you heard about our company that you didn't like? From my research, I didn't find anything I disliked. This company provides great benefits, works on exciting products, and is listed in the top 100 companies to work for. Do you want to work for a small or large company, and why? I worked for a small company for a year and missed out on a lot of benefits a larger company provides, such as training, structured work environment, and a wider variety of work, so I want to work for a large company. What do you do when you're having difficulty solving a problem? There are a couple things I do when I'm having a problem. Sometimes I try to focus so hard that I miss a point that would help me solve the problem. So I take a 2-minute break to help me approach the problem in a different way. I could either go get a drink of water or stand up and move around. I find that this helps me at times. But if I still continue to have problems, I don't mind asking a coworker for some assistance. I believe in using all the resources around me, and I think coworkers should use me as a resource as well. What do you do when you have a problem with the direct? Because I'm the manager, I feel it's my responsibility to improve the relationship. If the problem is work-related, I'll narrow the problem down, whether it's with his working style or another type of problem, and assist in any way I can. This would also involve providing feedback and suggestions on how to approach problems. But if our personalities conflict, then I would try to be more understanding. What do you do when you have a problem with your boss? I'm a very honest and open person, so anytime I have a problem with my boss, I always let him or her know. I make a list of things that bother me. I ask my boss for time to chat, and I reveal these problems and the reasons for them. I want to make sure I'm not being offensive or sound like I'm accusing my boss of anything. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? If I have a problem that I can solve, I'll do everything I can to correct it. If the problem is out of my control, I feel it's important to let my manager know what my problems are. What do you do when you have a problem with a coworker? If I have a problem with a coworker, I believe it's so important to talk to them. Even if I'm the one with the problem, I want to know so I can be a better teammate. How do you handle conflict? Whenever I'm confronted with a conflict, I always follow a simple process. I think about what the current conflict is, think of several ways I can deal with this conflict, and then take the best action after my analysis. Have you fired anyone? And if so, why? Oh yeah, I fired a lot of people. All of the reasons were the same. They were not performing their jobs. I believe in good management. I believe I should mentor and help grow our employees. This is a business, and we need to do whatever we can to help our company grow. One of the biggest factors on the success of a company is having great employees. So I won't hesitate to fire someone who isn't performing their job. It leaves more room to bring in someone who will benefit the company. How do you get along with your subordinates? My relationship with my directs is very good. They're very open and honest with me, and I'm sure they feel that they can come to me with any problems. What do you like to do when you're not in the office? Well, I like the piano, so I have piano lessons on a weekly basis. I also like gardening, so I work in my yard a lot. But if I want to relax, I like to watch videos at night. That's a high salary for this position. Where did you come up with that figure? I have 3 more years of experience that will help a lot. I also have a college degree that is not stated as a requirement, but if the figure is too high, I would consider something a little less. Are you a risk taker, or do you like to stay away from risks? I see myself as a risk taker, but before taking the risk, I always evaluate all other options, weighing the pros and cons of success and failure, and after careful consideration, I would definitely take a risk if the rewards were high enough. I view staying away from risks similar to staying away from a gold mine surrounded by dynamite. Of course, if you don't know what triggers a dynamite, it would be unwise to take that risk. But if you study the situation and know the location of all dynamite and the way that they are triggered, then the risk is minimized. Some people would not explore the options to reduce the risk, but I would definitely study each situation and take a risk that would improve my personal or company's situation. Are you an organized person? I'm a very organized person. I like to know exactly what I'm going to do for the day and the week, so I outline my tasks and organize my workload. By doing so, I can organize my time and work better. Do you manage your time well? I'm good at managing my time. I stay busy both at home and at work, and being able to manage my time is necessary for me to do everything that I want to do. Do you work well under pressure? To tell you the truth, I think I work the same if there is pressure or if there is no pressure. I try and take out negative emotional factors and work hard regardless of downtime or busy time. I always prioritize and organize my work, and from there work efficiently. If the situation involves pressure due to a lack of time, then the only difference in my work would be the extra time I would need to put in to meet the deadlines on time. Since I believe my normal work is great work, then I suppose I work well under pressure. If you could change one thing about your personality, what would it be and why? I get easily frustrated at people who don't work very hard, but I know people have different work styles and different work habits, so if I could change something, I'd like to be more understanding. What are your long-term goals? I want to become a valued employee of a company. I want to make a difference, and I'm willing to work hard to achieve this goal. I don't want a regular career, I want a special career that I can be proud of. What are your short-term goals? My short-term goal is to learn everything I can about marketing. I want to find a position where I can contribute what I've learned through education and to gain real-life experience. I believe the next couple of years will be very important to me. My immediate goal is to learn and become skilled in all aspects of marketing. Why should I hire you? I should be hired because I'm efficient, smart, and friendly. I'm great at solving problems and love challenges. Most importantly, I'm dependable and reliable. If you redo college again, what would you major in? I didn't realize I was so interested in computers until I graduated college. So if I could select a different major, I would major in computer science. What course did you like the least? For me, I had a tough time in my drama class. I didn't realize that I was a terrible actor. I didn't think it would be that hard. But week after week, my instructor would point out problem after problem. He gave me a B, but I think it was because of my effort, not because of my abilities. I say this because when I saw myself on video, oh my gosh, it was terrible. How would your professor describe you? My professor always told me that I was very creative. He liked my papers because it showed that I really thought about the problem and tackled it in a different way. Why are you applying for a job that you didn't major in? I majored in history, but during my senior year, I had an opportunity to work at an accounting firm. After seeing firsthand at the work they were doing, I really wanted to become an accountant. During college, how did you spend your summer vacations? Every summer, I took extra English classes. I also took some drawing classes because it's one of my hobbies. So I spent my summers learning more things. Tell me about your last 3 positions. I've only held 2 different positions. In my first job, I was a lab manager for ABC Software Company. I monitored 50 computers and performed diagnostics regularly. In my last position, I was a network engineer, fixing network problems and troubleshooting bottlenecks. Tell me about your last position. What did you do and how did you do it? Include the people you worked for and the people you worked with. In my last position, I was a senior auditor. My duties included auditing governmental businesses and Native American tribes. For all the audits I was conducting, I was the in-charge auditor, overseeing the audits of other team members and doing a portion of the audit myself. I have experience in conducting an audit from beginning to end without supervision, and I worked with controllers and senior accountants on a regular basis. Along with working with experienced and knowledgeable clients, I also had to work with junior-level accountants that didn't know all the details of auditing. I was clear and concise in asking for what I needed. In the last year, I was working as a senior auditor. I planned and organized each visit to our client site. I regularly trained and managed new members of our team, and I was the go-to person for technical auditing questions. What is your management philosophy? Before I was in management, I had many types of managers. I learned a lot from observing their management styles. I also learned a lot from the bad managers I had. I had a manager who was never there, another that didn't care, and another that had a phrase similar to "do as I say, not as I do." So the traits I acquired are from my good managers, such as working smart instead of working long. But the philosophy I always think about is from my bad managers. So I believe I should lead by example, provide guidance and growth by giving important feedback, and to be accessible to everyone. What was your favorite job? My favorite job was working as a financial analyst. I wanted to pursue other areas of finance, so I accepted a position as a financial consultant. After a while, I realized how much I enjoyed my work as a financial analyst, so I'm looking for a financial analyst position. Tell me about the best manager you ever had. My favorite manager was a person with a lot of knowledge. She stood her ground firmly and knew the best process to take by analyzing all the information. What do you do when you have a problem with your job? In this situation, I ask myself why I'm having the problem. After identifying it, I work on solving the problem so I can be more efficient in my work. How do you handle conflict? I handle conflicts by analyzing them. I'm a very analytical person, and I feel all problems have a solution. I usually think about the conflict and find ways to deal with it. Do you like to work by yourself or with others? If I had to choose just one, then I'd probably choose to work alone. How do you get along with your superiors? I've had my share of great managers and mediocre managers, but I've always gotten along with all of them very well. I've rarely had conflicts with them, and if there was an issue, I always talked it over with them. Are you willing to relocate? I guess it would depend on the location and the pay. If everything is the same, I would rather stay here because this is where I grew up, but I would be willing to consider it. May I contact your current employer? Yes. Do you have their contact information? Is there anything else I should know? I don't know if I expressed it that well, but I'm very excited about this position. I'm confident that I can do very well here. Are you a risk taker, or do you like to stay away from risks? I'm reliable and believe in stability and guarantees. My work will be based on facts without assumptions or guesses, so I tend to stay away from risks.
How do you handle change? I'm good at dealing with change because I'm flexible with my work and abilities. I'm not afraid of learning new and difficult things. Whenever I'm faced with a change, I'll put in extra effort to make the change a smooth transition. How do you make important decisions? I make important decisions by examining all the details and then weighing the pros and cons for each decision. What are your long-term goals? I've always loved to teach. I like to grow newer employees and help coworkers wherever I can. So in the future, I would love to be an instructor. What are your strengths? I've always been a great team player. I'm good at keeping a team together and producing quality work in a team environment. What are your strengths? After having worked for a couple of years, I realized my strength is accomplishing a large amount of work within a short period of time. I get things done on time, and my manager always appreciated it. What are your weaknesses? I feel my weakness is not being detail-oriented enough. I'm a person that wants to accomplish as much as possible. I realize this hurts the quality, and I'm currently working on finding a balance between quantity and quality. What does failure mean to you? Failure is when I do not reach my goal.
If you redo college again, what would you major in? I would like to have majored in engineering. I have a strong interest in hardware, so I believe engineering would have helped.
What course did you like the most?
My favorite subject was physics. It really helped my logic abilities, and I used this knowledge to solve problems in a variety of ways.
What course did you like the least?
I disliked my geography class. It wasn't difficult, but I simply didn't find it very interesting. How will your performance in your worst class affect your performance on this job? No matter if I liked the class or not, I always tried my hardest. As a result, the lowest grade I ever received was a B, so I'm confident that I'll be good at any task.
How would your best friend describe you?
My best friend would probably say that I'm warm, friendly, and understanding.
Why do you like sales?
I like sales because I like talking with people, and I'm good at making people feel comfortable.
How long have you been looking for a job?
It's been about 2 months now. I wasn't as aggressive in the beginning because I was taking some classes, but now that I'm done with class, I'm really trying now.
Why haven't you received any offers so far?
I've only interviewed with 2 other companies so far, and I have a second interview with one of them. It's too early to tell if I'll be receiving any offers right now, but I'm confident that I will get a couple.
Why haven't you received any offers so far?
I received offers from Boeing and Infospace.
What are you looking to gain from your next job?
I want to gain experience in many areas of accounting. I want a position where things are not routine and where many of my accounting skills are utilized.
How long do you plan on staying with this company?
The only time I get bored is if there is no work to do. As long as there's a lot of work, then I'll be happy and stay for a long time. I'm a busybody and I need to do work.
How long do you plan on staying with this company?
This company has everything I'm looking for. It provides the type of work I love, the employees are all happy, and the environment is great. I plan on staying a long time.
How long do you plan on staying with this company?
One of my goals is to obtain a position in this company. I know that once I start working here, it'll be for a long time.
What do you do when you feel burnt out?
When I feel burnt out, I go to the gym and work out. This actually helps me because it moves the focus from my mind to my body. After a good workout, I really feel mentally rejuvenated.
What have you heard about our company that you didn't like?
When I search for a job, I always look for negative things. However, I didn't find anything that I didn't like. That's why I'm very excited to have this opportunity to work here.
Tell me about the best manager you ever had.
I had a manager that worked efficiently. Instead of bossing everyone around, he set an example of hard work through his actions. I respected that trait and learned to be more like him by working smarter. Tell me about the worst manager you ever had. One manager didn't like talking to people. He always had his office door closed, and when anyone asked a question, he seemed disturbed. He was very intelligent and produced a great deal of work, but as a manager, I believe you should be approachable by your directs. What were the most memorable accomplishments in your last position? The most memorable accomplishment I had as a sales associate for a software company was closing a deal worth $17 million. This was the second largest order our company ever had, and it felt like hitting a grand slam. Why do you want to leave your current job? I really enjoy what I'm doing, but I feel I'm following a routine. I looked around for more opportunities to grow, but because the company is small, I'm very limited. I want to work in an environment that will help me realize my full potential, and a place I can contribute everything I'm capable of doing. My current job doesn't provide these things for me, and that's why I want to work here. I know ABC Company has a lot of opportunities for growth and encourages employees to take on challenging projects to learn more. That is what I'm looking for. Give me a specific example at your last position where you made things more efficient. It's something small, but in our office, everyone left their monitors and lights on. I simply put up signs to turn off their monitors and to turn off office lights. This really helped, and our VP even told me he appreciated the small effort. What do you expect from your manager? I expect my manager to give me relevant work, to be accessible, setting an example through action, providing both positive and negative feedback so I can improve, and finally a manager that will help me succeed. Ultimately, I know it's my responsibility to be a great performer, but having a manager that I can learn from can help me grow that much more. That's what I'm looking for. What types of people do you have trouble getting along with? Basically, I had to change the way I talked to him. I was very careful with my words and always said something like, "That's a great idea, but we could add this to it," or "I definitely agree with you, but can I get your opinion on this method?" To tell you the truth, I would rather not deal with a person like that, but I thought the right thing to do was to find a way to deal with him, so that is what I did. How do you explain the fact that you frequently change jobs? I see that you haven't stayed with a company for more than 2 years. I want to work for a large company that has many opportunities. I didn't receive this in my other companies because they were smaller, but I learned this company has a lot of great work to do and a lot of different opportunities. What do you do when there's no work to do? I'm a type of person who hates not having work to do. In my last position, I frequently asked my supervisor for more work when I finished early. And in times when there really is no work, I go around searching for work, and if I'm still unsuccessful, I'll try to make work that will make existing processes more efficient. So I believe there never is a time when there is no work to do. What do you do when there are too many things to do? For me, the busier it gets, the more I organize and plan. Some people might think I could use the time I spend in planning out my day to work on something, but I realized how efficient I can work when I organize my work ahead of time and plan out my day thoroughly. Also, it prevents me from panicking or from blowing up from the pressure. I learned from my previous manager that when there are many things to do, you should work smarter instead of faster. What do you do when you have a problem with the direct? I believe feedback is important to solve problems with the direct. I meet with my directs regularly and always provide suggestions on how to improve. I also use this time to work out problems we might have. It's important to let my directs know where I stand so they don't have to make assumptions. Have you fired anyone? And if so, why? The only time I had to fire someone was when an employee was continually late. We have a company policy of giving a verbal warning for the first 3 offenses, and then a written warning after the 3rd offense. I had many discussions about this problem with this employee, but it didn't help. In the end, we had to let him go. Tell me a little about yourself. I went to the University of Washington and majored in English literature. I went to graduate school because I really enjoyed learning. Afterwards, I started my career at Boeing as a web content editor. I've been there for 3 years now. Although my emphasis is in writing, I like numbers.
I think solving logic problems and riddles are quite fun. I also enjoy jogging, reading, and watching movies.
Tell me about a time you aimed too high. I believe aiming high is a good practice. Aiming high keeps me focused and forces me to grow by trying to reach high goals I've set for myself. But I know there are times when aiming too high is not good. For example, one time in the middle of a project, our clients wanted to change one aspect of the assignment that we had already completed. I analyzed the change request and told them that we were not able to make the date. I estimated that it would take 3 additional days. They insisted that we finish on the agreed upon time schedule. I had told them that we would try, but we could not promise anything. Even with hard work and overtime, we missed the due date. We did, however, finish 1 day later. I challenged myself to complete on time, but with a large change request, it was too high of a goal to reach. In this case, I really aimed too high. I should have been more firm telling them that we would need the additional days.
Why should I hire you? You should hire me because I'm confident and I'll do the best job. I have a proven track record of success starting from high school until now. I'm responsible and smart. This position requires someone that will work well without supervision. I know how to manage my time and organize my work well, so I'm confident I will be the best candidate for this position.
During college, how did you spend your summer vacations? My first 2 summers, I had to work to save money for tuition. But after saving enough money, I had a free summer. I actually ended up taking some computer classes to prepare myself for the business world. These days it's a requirement to know computers, so I prepared for that. If you could learn something such as a new skill, what would it be? I use the computer on a daily basis and know how to use everything I need to be good at my job. But sometimes something goes wrong with the computer for no reason at all. Because I'm not a computer engineer, I have no idea what's going on. Basically, I have to wait for a technician to fix it. During these times, I want to kick the computer out of frustration. Mostly, it ends up being a problem I could have fixed if I knew the details of how a computer works. So even though it's not in my job description, I want to know how to fix computers at a basic level. During your performance reviews, what criticism do you hear the most? I actually like to receive criticism because it gives me information on how to improve. But the most common criticism I hear is hard to correct because I disagree with the comment. I'm told that I should be more visible. I'm told that I do great work and I do a lot of extra work, but in a large organization, it's important to visibly stand out. I'm not a person who likes to be secluded in the office. I like to go out and collaborate. I like to work with people, and I email my coworkers with valuable information that will help with their jobs, so I can't say I agree, but I always try and be more visible. Tell me about your last 3 positions. The first position I held was working at Radio Shack as a salesman. I learned a great deal about retail stores, about sales and working with customers, and became more independent. I thought I learned a great deal and enjoyed my work, but I wanted to experience different types of work. So I started working for Verizon. I had an office job and did a variety of different tasks, such as planning, data entry, and organizing projects. I learned a little about the office setting, but I wanted to get back into sales. So I was given an opportunity to sell cell phones for Verizon at a retail store. I used my past sales experience and worked hard, becoming one of the top salesperson 3 years in a row. I've been there ever since. What were the most memorable accomplishments in your last position? I think the greatest accomplishment in my last position was implementing a simple process that reduced the number of broken builds by 20%. Whenever we have a broken build, it slows down work for 20 different people. That puts risk on slipping the ship date. But my process involved following 25 steps prior to building to ensure a successful build. The 25 steps only took 15 minutes to complete, and we reduced the number of build breaks significantly. It worked for our product, and upper management instructed other groups in our organization to put this process in place. I really felt excited about that accomplishment. What's the title of the person you report to? What responsibility does he or she have? The title of the person I report to is Product Unit Manager. The Product Unit Manager is responsible for overseeing the entire project. He uses the information from test, development, and program managers to make sure the project is online. He also is the person representing our whole group and reports progress to the vice president of our organization. He provides high-level guidance and direction, making sure we are following our mission statement. Other people who report to him are the development manager and the group program manager. If you have problems or complaints with your current job, why haven't you brought it to their attention? My biggest complaint is that there are no opportunities to grow. My manager tells me I'm doing great work, but I feel I am stuck at this level. I spoke with my manager for more work so I can grow and gain more experience, but unfortunately, there isn't any work to give. I even had a discussion about changing roles, but because there is no open headcount in other divisions, it was hard to do that. So I definitely conveyed my desire for more work or for change, but it was something they couldn't provide. Have you managed people in any of the positions you've held? I've never been in a management position yet, but I did manage 2 temporary employees for a 1-year duration. During that time, I was given a large area of work to cover. I planned and organized the work to distribute to the 2 extra workers. I managed their work and kept track of how many hours they worked each week. I met with them on a regular basis and provided feedback on where they were doing well and where they needed improvement. Their time in our team ended after we completed the project. It wasn't a management position, but I gained experience in managing people. Do you see that stapler? Convince me to buy it. We are proud to carry this stapler. It's very durable and easy to use. Loading the staples is as simple as clicking this button on the bottom to open the top. The design is made with more curves to make it more appealing on the desk. It also is designed with more safety in mind. If you accidentally drop the staple on your foot or hit it with your hand, the curves are smooth enough where it will not break the skin. The warranty on the stapler is great too. It comes with a 5-year guarantee. We are currently offering this stapler for a low price of $19.99, and we'll have a low price guarantee. If you find a lower price in the next 30 days, we will gladly pay you the difference. If you don't understand your assignment and you can't reach your boss, what would you do? First, I would read the assignment again thoroughly to see if I missed a clue or anything. I could even turn to the internet and look up other documentation if it was something like a difficult process I didn't know. After investigating this assignment and I still didn't understand it, then I could turn to my peers and see if anyone has done an assignment similar to the one I received. If my peers do not know either, then I could ask my boss's manager and verify with him. After exhausting these options, then I would have to make a decision on how to do the assignment and make the best decision I can on how to tackle the assignment. Before engaging in the assignment, I would leave a message on my boss's cell phone.